welcome to this week's episode of the Medical Device Marketing Podcast. I'm Jenna, and today I'm pleased to be joined by Claudia Holy. Today we're going to be talking about TIRE, or They Ask You Answer, which is something that we've been talking about quite a bit recently. It's essentially a business philosophy and a content strategy that can really help to drive your business. So we've talked about it a lot lately, but you may be wondering how you can actually get started implementing They Ask You Answer in your own business. So let's start off, Claudia, by defining what They Ask You Answer actually is.
Perfect. Okay, so They Ask You Answer is really a content marketing strategy, but it's a content marketing strategy that helps to increase your sales force effectiveness and also increase lead generation. So it's got two arms to it, but it really is driven totally through the delivery of unbiased and educational content.
Easy, simple.
Easy. It sounds so simple.
So
And there's
why
many other
is it important? Like why what does TIRE help you to achieve as a company?
I think TIRE is important because it's really exciting and it's a new area that I don't think is being isn't being adopted very broadly across medical device. So it's a great opportunity. We know that everybody is moving towards digital. There was a great study that everyone's probably heard me talking about, and I never stop talking about it, which was from Forrester, that showed that on average, 80% of the buying decision is made before anybody even gets in contact with you. And that study included healthcare. So the range was between 70 and 90%. But what's more important than that is not that everybody's vetting you to death online, or just wanting to digest as much information as possible. What's more important is the trend that we're seeing. So there was another study done by Gartner, and that showed that 44% of millennials would prefer to have a sales process that didn't include a salesperson. Now, what's most important about that is that's 2.2 times higher than the generation before. So what we're seeing is everybody is going either online, which is definitely one route, but they're also going to really digest information themselves. So if we can help people to have that information so they can make their own decisions, then that's where TIRE really fits in. So, what's so important about it, it's going to help you really capitalize on where the market is going. But it's not easy because it's a big ask to say to medical device companies, we want you to start talking about things in a way you've never spoken about them before. We want you to show things in a way you've never shown them before. And we want you to teach things in a way you've never taught before. So it's a big ask. This isn't just, yes, we'll start it. Medical device has a whole lot of regulatory barriers within it. So you've got to be able to do it within these barriers. But those companies that do it, I think will see significant impacts on their revenue and of course their profitability as well, because of the increase, shortening of the sales cycle, increase of conversion rates, things like that. I've probably given you a little bit too much information in that, Jenna.
It's quite a lot, but I'm sure it's helpful for our listeners. So you said there that it's not easy to implement. If we could just start by going into what materials you think people will need to start implementing it.
Yeah, I want to clarify that actually. Not that it's not easy to implement. It is easy to implement if you have a framework behind you. So I think, it's about taking it step by step by step by step in order to implement something like this. So when we're talking about what materials you need, and this is an interesting question, because I think it depends on where you are as an organization and what benefit you want to see out of this. So if you look at it traditionally, if you were, very active online, you had a very good website, that's obviously one really great criteria because you can post everything online, people can find you. But that's not necessarily the most important, yes, that's a really important thing to do, but that's not always possible in a medical device due to the regulatory landscape. So, more it's about understanding what this framework is. So you can certainly do that by, reading the book, They Ask You Answer by Marcus Sheridan. It's a great insight into how to do this. But I think those are the main things. But the other thing from a material perspective, I would say they're the main things you need.
Sure, makes sense. And you conveniently have the book stacked behind you.
Oh, yeah. We have many of them. No, it's really great. I think it's then about how you adapt it into medical device. I think
Yeah.
medical device is a very interesting area.
So, how would you recommend for our listeners to start integrating They Ask You Answer into their workplace culture? Because it's a whole culture, isn't it?
Totally. So I think the most important thing to start with when you're integrating They Ask You Answer into your culture is you need to get total buy-in. So you need buy-in from top down. You need your CEO bought in, you need your marketing bought in, you need your sales bought in, you need every part of the organization on board to do this because it requires everybody to do it. So the best way to do that is actually doing a company workshop and bringing everybody together and explaining to them why we're doing this and the benefits of what it's going to deliver. So, it's going to increase your conversion rate, shorten your sales cycle. And this is how we're going to do it, because we're going to take those 80% of questions that you're asked all the time by your customers, and we're going to put them into amazing content that you can prep them with upfront. So I think, it's really getting everybody on board. But then the next thing, once you've got people on board, and this is where the workshop is so great, is that then it's about understanding what that 80% questions are. So what are those questions they're being asked all the time? And so, really, if we do a workshop, we'll probably come up with 150 pieces of content by the end of the workshop. So a half-day workshop, 150 pieces of content. And then the question is, right, which pieces of this content are going to impact your sales or buyer's journey, your sales cycle, your adoption journey, whatever that is, immediately. So if I create a piece of content for you, or you create a bit of content for yourself, will your sales team be able to pick that up tomorrow and go, amazing, I'm going to send that out to a customer, and that's going to have a really big impact on what I'm doing. So that's really, I think those are the most important ways of integrating it into your culture, because you deliver really fast results to your team. If you take longer and you go more down an SEO route to start off with and just publish articles online, which is, of course, the other side of They Ask You Answer, it takes a lot longer to do it. We all know that Google can take 7 to 12 months. We know from our own pain and experience that Google can take, 7 to 12 months to properly rank articles where they should be, especially if you've not got a very established website. So you need to deliver results quickly, and Salesforce effectiveness is where to deliver those results, answering those 80% questions. So that's how to integrate it. I think there's other ways is you need to have good feedback loops. So things like, it's called a revenue team. But what is a revenue team? It's basically marketing and sales coming together, because, we can't forget here, in order to deliver this amazing content, there's no way marketing can do it on their own. And there's no way sales can do it on their own. So they need to come together. And why do they come together? Because sales are the experts. They are in front of the customer all the time. Marketing are the experts at creating content. So the sales team will say what they need and give all that information to marketing. Marketing will then create the articles and the materials that the sales team can then use. So a revenue team is a great way of the team coming together maybe every other week and saying, right, how has this content gone down? What's missing in it? What else are you being asked today? How else can I help you improve your sales cycle? So that's really how to integrate that into your team. So it's, fast results, ongoing feedback, so everybody knows exactly how this is happening.
Yeah, and I suppose it's quite a different way of doing things. Like,
Yeah.
sales and marketing are traditionally very siloed, but ultimately they're working towards the same goal, which is driving revenue. And so having them work together, everyone's aligned, and you just produce, you're going to work together to get much better results, and you'll be on the same page and know exactly how to communicate with your audience, because your sales team know how to communicate with your audience, and you're just passing that information
Exactly.
between each other for better
Exactly.
results.
It's just sales and marketing fully aligned to really listen to the customer and provide the information that the customer needs. And it's in a way, I said at the beginning of the podcast, it is in a way that other companies aren't doing it. So you're talking about things other companies aren't talking about. We talk about the big five. They're the key things that people tend to be asking, or the big five questions. I know there's loads of articles we've got on the website about that. So yeah, it's doing all that.
Amazing. So if you had one major piece of advice, one takeaway for our listeners to this podcast, what would you recommend, or what would you say to someone listening?
I'd say this is the future. And we think as a company wholeheartedly believe that, content or marketing and sales combining into one to deliver ultra effective material for the sales force and SEO is the way things are going. But I'd say it's a staged process. So, if you want to do it yourself, which is totally possible, there are differences in medical device. It's not as straightforward necessarily as out of medical device, but, read the book from Marcus Sheridan. It's a fantastic book. It will map out everything, really how to do it. But if you want to do it faster and you want to not trip over the issues that, we see other companies do as they're implementing it that way, then speak to us about coaching, things like that, because obviously we've seen all these issues happening. We've gone through the whole training program to make sure that, we can advise people how to do this as quickly as possible. But I think, it's a staged process. Deliver results quickly, measure your results, because, there's no point in spending 10 to 15,000 on creating all this amazing content if then you can't go and talk to everybody and actually say, do you know what, this is delivered, or this has shortened our sales cycle by 50%. Our team now have 50% more capacity. They're now reaching out to X number more people. We've got to have the data behind this to really be able to justify that this is working, but it will deliver you the data. So I think those are probably my main takeaways. Get the data, and I can't remember what was my other one. Read the book or get a coach.
Read the book or get a coach.
And it's staged. Those are the 4. There's 4 takeaways. Sorry, was there meant to be 1?
Well, 4 for the price of 1. You can't really complain. Great.
No,
okay.
Exactly. It's all about value.
Great. Okay, so thank you for joining me today. And for our listeners, if you want to learn any more about They Ask You Answer, you can head over to our website. We published lots of articles, lots more articles coming, but we also have more podcasts on Tyre, so you can head over wherever you listen and you'll be able to find those episodes too. So thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much.